This week we talked about your relationship with money. That's a funny thing to talk about, relationship with money. Money's not a living thing, it's just an object, it's a thing. And a lot of times people get the wrong idea about money. Some people believe that the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. But that's actually not what the Bible says. The Bible says that the love of money, being consumed with money, is the root of all kinds of evil. And so what the Bible teaches us in that context is that the object of your worship is what's most important. It's not the size of your bank account. If you have a lot of money, that's really immaterial to whether or not you're greedy or whether or not you worship money or whether or not you put God first in your life. You can be poor and broke and still worship money, or you can be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams and worship God and not be materialistic at all. So the Bible is clear that our job is to make sure that we make God the focus of our worship, not the money the focus of our worship. So in your relationship with money, I want to talk to you about two positions that you need to be in. You need to consider. You most likely are in one of two positions. The first position is how most people live. They live their life with a closed fist. And what I mean by that is that they live in a poverty mentality. In other words, they believe that God is not the source of all supply, that they believe that God owns everything, but they don't really think that He'll supply their need. They live with a closed fist. This leads to all kinds of fear. It leads to all kinds of stress in your life. It leads to worshiping money. It leads to greediness. It leads to selfishness. It leads to stress. It leads to problems in your life. It leads to believing that you have to hoard it all and you can't be generous. You can't give. And so there are a lot of people that live life this way. They live with a closed fist, this mentality that there will never be enough. On the other hand, you can live with an open hand. I believe that when you live with an open hand, that you're in a position of worship. You realize that money is just a thing and that God supplies everything, that He owns it all, that you don't own it, but God does, and that He wants to work through you. When you live with an open hand, you're not greedy and selfish, but you're generous. You allow that open hand to be a conduit that God can use to bless others. He can send lots of resources through an open hand, but not through a closed fist. And so when you live with that open hand, you're worshiping God rather than money. You are making sure that you see God as the owner. You understand that you're not going to stress out and worry so much. It doesn't mean that you don't need to have a budget or that you don't need to plan or don't need to have a job or a savings account or a retirement account. That's not what it means. You need to be wise with your money. But rather what you need to do is live in a way that God blesses. King Solomon was considered the wisest man that ever lived. And I want you to hear what he wrote about this. He's actually writing from the perspective of a man that is living with a closed fist. And we see in it principles of living with an open hand. Listen to what he writes in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. It says, "Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. The more you have, the more people come to help you spend it. So what good is wealth, except perhaps to watch it slip through your fingers? People who work hard sleep well, whether they eat little or much. But the rich seldom get a good night's sleep. There's another serious problem I've seen under the sun. Hoarding riches harms the saver. Money is put into risky investments that turn sour, and everything is lost. In the end, there's nothing left to pass on to one's children. We all come to the end of our lives as naked and empty-handed as on the day we were born. We can't take our riches with us. And this, too, is a very serious problem. People leave this world no better off than when they came. All their hard work is for nothing, like working for the wind. Throughout their lives, they live under a cloud, frustrated, discouraged, and angry. Even so, I have noticed one thing, at least that is good. It is good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun during the short life God has given them and to accept their lot in life. And it is a good thing to receive wealth from God and the good health to enjoy it. To enjoy your work and accept your lot in life, that is indeed a gift from God. God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they have no time to brood over the past. Well, I hope you'll consider this idea of living with either a closed fist or an open hand. What Solomon described there at the end, those that live with an open hand, they're so busy enjoying life, they're so busy being blessed by God, they have no time to worry or brood over the past. Well, I hope you'll find this discussion very helpful as you talk about your relationship with money.